All right, I'm just going to create a new one. We're going to start from scratch. 6-wheel drop. I'm just going to call this our standard 6-wheel drop drivetrain. And I'm going to go through it from the very beginning. I don't know how long this will take us. This is the first time I've done this, so we're just going to work through it. I did it over the weekend just to kind of try it out, and we'll kind of go from there. And I will explain. Okay. So we popped open a document. We're going to start on the first thing. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a drivetrain similar to last year in that we have about 120-inch perimeter that we have to stay within. So using my little sample here, this is essentially a square. It's 29.5 inches by 29.5. Obviously, this is shrunk down, but we're going to do one that's 29.5 inches by 29.5 inches. So in order to do that, the front and the back piece can be 29.5 inches. These side pieces have to be 29.5 minus 1 inch, 2 inches, so 27.5, okay? Each of the, I'm going to go to the front here, and I'm going to sketch. Okay, now if you have not gotten the CADing skill duck yet, I am probably going to go too fast for you. Okay, I will admit that right up front, because if you are not used to using Onshape and haven't used it before, you really need to do the skill duck around it so that you start to get used to doing it. Okay. And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks here as I go along as well. So you'll be learning some other stuff too. So we're going to sketch on this front plane. I always anchor my first drawing, so it's anchored in the center. And we know that our tubing is 2 inches by 1 inch. Okay, this is our tubing. Now we also know that it's an 1/8 inch interior. So something I do at the same time is I bring up my calculator because I don't have all my fractions memorized in terms of decimal places. So 1 divided by 8 is 0.125, and I have to have that as an inset here. So what I do is I use this little inset function, and I just inset each of these. And it's going to start at 1/4 inch, but we're going to do it 0.125. Okay, so 1/8 of an inch, 1 divided by 8, right? Pretty simple math, 0.125. All right, now I've got my, essentially, this is the profile of my tubing. Okay, now I know this one's going to be my front and back one, let's say. I'm going to then extrude it to 29.5 inches. All right, I look at it, there it is, 29.5 inches. We got our tubing. It's kind of nice. Now, the other thing I do right away is I rename it front, back, and I always rename the part as well, okay? Front, back. This is going to help us when we start putting it into our main assembly, and I'm going to move my assembly over here. This will be the assembly for the project, but I'm going to create another tube before I do that. I'm going to rename it sidebar. And we're going to do the same thing here because this one's a different. Okay, we could, by the way, I could have done the bars. This is just an organizational thing. I could have done another bar in the front back one. I like just keeping them separate. So it's personal preference at that point. I'm going to do another bar, my 2 inches by 1 inch. You get to see me do it again here. My insets. Ooh, and this time it did it going weird. There we go. Click here, 0.125, got my 1/8 of an inch. And now we're going to take this and we're going to extrude it 27.5 inches. Okay. Now, this is also going to be the first one we really start taking a look at here. So we're going to go, okay, so that was the front. I'm going to go on the right-hand side here. This is our bar now on the right-hand side. Let's go over to our assembly for a minute. Main drivetrain. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to relabel this as well. Sidebar. Now, for the purposes of this, we are not going to do separate front back items and separate sidebars. We're only going to do 2. Now, there is a possibility where we would want to customize all 4 sides of this. In this case, right, these two sides are going to be identical, and these two sides are going to be identical. We're just going to, that's how we're going to do it this time. You can always break these apart and do them individually too. It's the same process, okay? So in my main drivetrain here, just to get us started, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 of these for the front and back, and then 2 sidebars, okay? Side and side, okay? Now my front and back ones, I need to rotate them 90 degrees. I just start doing it, by the way, and then I type 90 and return, and it finishes it for you, okay? So you don't have to nail it exactly. Put that one in back. And then this one here, I'm gonna rotate again. I'm gonna start it, then I'm gonna say 90 degrees, and I should be good again, okay? Pretty simple. Now we need to attach these. So these are our sides, approximately, and these are front and back. What I'm going to do is attach these. A couple different ways I could go about this. I'm going to go ahead and just attach them. I can just pick a point here. I'm going to attach this one right here. So I'm going to attach this one here. I'm going to rotate. Go down to that bottom right-hand corner. Zoom in, and I want to attach it right there. Perfect. That's right where I want to do it. Now, it's not quite perfect because I just have a box then, right? Okay. If you notice here, I need to indent this for our wheels. Our wheels, I'm going to say take about 3 inches on each side. Okay, so a key thing here, I attached it back here in the back. I want to shift this direction. Well, notice the X is where I want to shift it then. That's going along this axis, okay? So I want to do an offset here and just shift it along the X. Now, if I do a positive number, it's going to move it in the direction of that red bar. So notice if I do it 2 inches that way, it comes back this way. That was not what I was expecting, but whatever. Okay, 3 inches. We want it to go that way. Oh, that's because it's attached to the back. I see. Okay. So it did. It moved that back bar to the left, and the back bar is the front back bar is the first bar, which is what it attaches to, and it attaches this to it. So then what we're trying to do is say, move this 3 inches in that direction and keep it attached. So we got it attached correctly. Let's attach the other one on the other side. It's just going to be the same thing here several times, okay? I'm going to attach it to this corner. Then I'm going to go this one back here. Now, if I highlight it, I'm just hovering over it, okay? I'm doing my right mouse button and I'm rotating. It'll rotate around the bar, which is really, really useful because now I want to zoom in here and I want to attach it right there in that bottom right-hand corner. Now notice my model keeps moving around with me all the time too. That's kind of annoying. We're going to stop that in a second. But let me get back here to the front again, okay? Now, again, we attach to the bar and back, and I want the bar and back to shift to the right. And notice my x-axis is going to the left. So when I do my offset this time, I have to do -3 inches. Boom. Takes it over. Now, oopsie. That's how I do. Okay. Now I should be good. All right. What happened over here? Oh, okay. This is because everything's shifting around right now. What we need to do, and I'm going to do this right now as well, you can just anchor one of these items and you can do a right click and fix. Now this one will not move, and no matter what you do, it'll just stay in the back there, okay? Now we just need to attach one of these to this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to attach this bottom left-hand corner to it. There we go. Sometimes you really got to zoom in to get it right where you want it. Now I'm going to, again, hover on this and then right-click and rotate. Notice it's way off my screen. I'm going to shift it over. And I'm going to select that. Okay, just popped over there. Perfect. Let's just go back over here. except this is rotated. All right, there we go. That's the normal view of it, except again, it's not quite where I want it. Now I started by clicking on this one this time in my x-axis. So I want this one to move positively 3 inches. Let's see if it did. Yep, there we go. All right, so I did my offset. Now I essentially have my frame all the way around.